This is the core of minimalism, in my opinion. It's not about how many things you have, the quantity of stuff you have. It's about how functional your life is around stuff, and if you have what you need and if you need what you have. So today I'm going through a lot of my old stuff and trying to reduce the amount of stuff I have. I really like to have few possessions and to just be able to move all my stuff in like one day. If it takes more than one day to move everything I own too much. That's my opinion. So I really enjoy living a so-called minimalist lifestyle, and what that means to me is having what I need and needing what I have. Meaning, I have everything I need. It's not about scarcity, it's about abundance. I have everything I need, but I also need everything I have. Meaning, I don't have stuff lying around that I don't really need, like just in case, or I don't have 2 or 3 items that do the same thing. If I have 3 things that do the same, I'll get rid of 2 of them and I'll just have that one thing. And focusing more on the quality of the stuff that I do have versus just having stuff that doesn't really do what I need. So minimalism to me is really about that, having what you need and needing what you have. Today though, I'm going through a process that I've been doing again and again for the last few years. I've been doing this at regular intervals, and that is downsizing the amount of stuff I have. Because when I grew up, I had a lot of stuff. Our parents, they also had a lot of stuff. So it's almost like a culture in the family to save stuff and to not throw it away and that sort of thing. So I always had a lot of toys and a lot of books and a lot of things as I grew up, and that sort of continued in my teenage years and etc. But in the last 5 years, as I've gotten into a healthier lifestyle and focusing more on health and living and being out in nature and traveling, I've seen the value of getting rid of stuff. Not only to sort of decrease clutter and get a clear mind, because it's really, having a lot of stuff makes a cluttered mind as well. Not only that, but it's also just simply because I needed money. I needed money, and I had a lot of stuff lying around. Like back in the day, I had a lot of microphones because I was doing audio engineering, music production, and so I got rid of all of those microphones, and that converted into money, and I spent that money on durian. So I converted my microphones into durian. So there's an aspect there as well. Efficiency. Why should you have something lying around that you're not using because you're out traveling or something like that, where you could just convert it into money by selling it, and then someone gets to use it. You get it into rotation again, and you get the money to spend on what you need right there and then. The same goes for books. When you're done reading a book, why have it lying around? Why not just get it into rotation again so someone else can enjoy that book? You've already read it. Of course, some books it's nice to have because you want to be able to go back and look up stuff in them, or they might have a special importance to you, like maybe someone wrote the book, and you want to have that book to look at it as a sort of memory. So there are reasons why you want to keep stuff as well, but generally speaking, I like the idea of getting stuff back into rotation, get it to flea markets, get it sold, get some money out of it if I can, but if I can't, then that's fine as well. Just get it into rotation and get rid of it and just downsize so I have only what I really need. Anyway, that was a long intro, because what I really want to do today is I want to sort of give you some tips in terms of how to do this process. Because it is a difficult process, I think. When all this stuff, this is my old stuff, and some of my new stuff. When all of this stuff was out of sight, they're renovating downstairs, that's why it's noisy. When all this stuff was out of sight, when it was just locked away in a cabinet somewhere, or in an attic or whatever, I didn't think about it at all. It was just like, out of my mind. But when I see it again, let me give you an example. This stuff is new stuff, really. But here we got some old stuff, like I don't know, you know, like just like a little thing here, like a coconut thing that I used to have my weed in when I was smoking a lot of weed. I would just like crumble it up in there before I made the joint. And there's a rock that my mom gave me, like a heart. And then there's like a little button, small little details and big things as well. The point here is that when you see these things again, it's almost like, oh, so many memories and so much attachment to these things. And it could also be functional things like this map, for example. It's kind of a nice map, but I'm not sure I really want to have a map on my wall nowadays. But there it is, and I'm like, oh, it's my map. I've had it for so long. I better keep it just in case, that sort of thing. And in the end, you can go through all your old stuff that you don't even need anymore, like this stuff. This is like a fake knife that I used when I was doing Taekwondo to practice self-defense. And I don't really do that anymore. Maybe I should though, it's a lot of fun. But anyway, oh, maybe I should probably keep it, I'm thinking, right? So it's easy to sort of go through every single piece of stuff that you have lying around. And in the end, you're just like, you didn't do anything. You didn't get rid of anything because you're so attached to each item. So it is a difficult process. You have to go through a lot of your attachments. And the technique that I've come up with is as follows. When you have an item, let's do the knife. When you have an item, you ask yourself, well, of course, the question is yes or no. Are you keeping it? Yes. Or are you getting rid of it? No. Yes or no. And in each of those two extremes, yes or no, there are several different options. So first of all, you have to ask yourself, if you're going to say yes, I want to keep it, then you have to ask yourself why. Why do you want to keep it? And the only valid answers, in my opinion here, are I want to keep it because I'm using it. Like, let's suppose I'm actually, like, let's take something that I am keeping. Like, what could it, well, let's do this thing, like a pull-up bar. I'm definitely keeping this. I like having that on the door and doing some pull-ups every now and then. I'm using it. It's an item that I want to have in my life. I'm keeping it, of course, yes, because I'm using it as of now, nowadays, whatever. The other more long-term ways, like, could be, for example, am I using it? And the answer could be, yes, I am using it, but only once in a while, maybe even just once a year. Could be clothing related to winter sport or something like that. I don't use it more than, a few times a year, but when I need it, I want to have it. In that situation, you keep it. But if the answer is no, I don't really use it, and I don't see myself really using it in the next year or so, but I want to keep it because it's so practical to have around. If that's the answer, probably better not to keep it. And then you could just go out and buy a new one or rent or whatever it is the item is when you actually need it. This goes for traveling too. If you're looking to pack your bags and you're like, oh, should I bring this item? I probably don't need it, but what if? Well, what if? You can go and buy that item wherever you're at if you really need it. That's better than bringing a lot of stuff that you don't really need. So, am I using it? Yes, I'm using it every day. Keep it. Yes, I'm using it regularly. Keep it. Yes, I will be using it at one point. I can see that happening. Probably keep it in storage. Put it away somewhere. In addition to those reasons, there is another reason to keep stuff, and that is for the sake of memories, sort of. But this is a very fine line, because here you get this box here, this box, and this box. Bigger box there. That's like all my, I don't know what the word is, memorabilia. I don't know. It's like old things like this I got from my brother when we were both kids. And yeah, here's my old weed pipe. A lot of memories of smoking weed. Little things, complete weird little things like this thing and I don't know, like here's my little, I used to have a piercing in my ear when I was like 12. There it is. Those sort of things you don't need those things, of course not. And in a way, you could throw them away. And I've thrown away a lot of those things over the years. I used to keep all my essays and everything from school, and I've downsized like 5 huge boxes full of essays and tests and all the results and everything. Downsized it into just one folder with some just random essays that I wanted to keep just to look through for fun. So I've gone through the process of getting rid of a lot of that stuff over the years, but I have come to realize that it's also nice to keep some of it. And the reason is not because I'm so attached to it. It's not because, oh my god, I can't throw away this kind of love letter almost that I have from when I was a kid. I can't throw it away because I'm so attached. No, it's more like this. I see the value of what I'm doing right now. Sitting down with the box, opening it up, and just looking at things. Just looking at them and being like, oh, I remember that, and oh, I remember that, and oh, look at this. Oh, memories, you know? Just like you have a photo album, or you save photos on your computer. You don't save photos because you need them. You need the photos. You save photos because every now and then you sit down and you look through the photos, brings up memories, good old days, and then you close it and move on. And then you know, so having this box and this one, for me, is nice. I just every now and then, like right now, I look it up, you know, it might be every few years or so. I feel like having a nostalgic moment. I look through all my old stuff, I close it back down, and it goes back into the shelves or whatever. We're moving out of this, or our parents are moving out of this house, which is where we used to grow up. And Matt and I are moving into this small little house on the property, and our parents are moving into the main house on this farm. So that's why I'm going through all this stuff. So, okay, back to the question. Am I going to keep it or not? If the answer is yes, it needs to be either because you're using it, because you're planning to use it, or because it definitely holds a practical value for you, or it's because it brings up memories and you want to keep it as part of your little personal museum of old things. At least that's how I do it. Of course, it depends on what level, like how far do you want to go, because some people might want to go as far as literally getting rid of every single thing they have and then acquiring or saving only those things that are like the bare essentials, what they really, really need. But the truth here is that this is the core of minimalism, in my opinion. It's not about how many things you have, the quantity of stuff you have. It's about how functional your life is around stuff, and if you have what you need and if you need what you have. And by that I mean, this is my belongings, and by owning these things, there's a certain amount of attachment. I do certainly know that when you go out traveling and all you own is a backpack with some basic stuff, you feel so free, like you don't need anything. But then, just because you don't own a car doesn't mean you don't use a car. You know, you might rent a car, you might go on a bus, you might hitchhike, your friends might take you in their car. So you are using a car. What's the difference then between owning your own car and using their car? Well, it's really no difference, except in your mind. In your mind, you have this idea that it's my car, I own it. This guitar. What's the difference between me owning that guitar and just borrowing it from a friend or just playing it when it's there, wherever I am? Well, there's no real difference. But by owning it, I have this mental attachment to the guitar, which makes me feel like it's my guitar. It's my guitar. And that sort of, it's almost like it steals a little bit of your soul when you own something. So in that sense, it's nice to own nothing. But this is not achieved through getting rid of everything you own. It's achieved through cleansing yourself from the attachment. It's a mental, spiritual kind of thing. You have to be able to let go of everything and say, I own nothing. I own nothing. I owe nothing to anyone, and no one owes anything to me. I'm free to flow. You know, in that sort of mindset, you are indeed free. And then, so if I have this stuck in a cabinet somewhere, I don't really consider it something that I own. Neither do I consider the guitar my guitar. But at the moment, this guitar is in my vicinity. And it's there. And yeah, it's kind of like my guitar. But I don't feel like it's actually an item that I own. So it also depends on where you draw the line. Because as I said, when I'm out traveling with a small backpack, a few items, that's everything I have in my life. Even though I know that back home in Norway, I got all these books. Because I got 2 or 3 big banana boxes full of books. And I need to go through them as well and get rid of some of them. And sell some of them, get some of them to a flea market. And the other ones I want to keep to have a little bit of a library. You know, I like to look up stuff. Like right here I have the 8-10-10 diet. Well, I'll show you. There we go, 8-10-10 diet there. And then there's like another book. A few books here that I enjoy having around, being able to look up stuff. But the books that I'm done reading that I don't really need, they go to someone else. Back into rotation. Anyway, I'm rambling a lot. Back to the topic. So if I don't choose to keep an item, if it's not yes, if it's going to be no, then there's also a sort of few different alternatives. When I choose to not keep something, like this knife for example, which I am not keeping, well, maybe I'll keep one so we can practice knife play. So if something is going in the no category, meaning I'm not going to keep it, it's gonna go into one of 3 categories. So I ask myself, okay, I don't want this, what am I gonna do with it? Well, if it's completely not functional, if it's garbage basically, like for example, this mouse, it's not working properly. So it's essentially garbage, so it goes into the garbage. And specifically when something goes into the garbage, there's another set of categories there, because you can sort it depending on materials, you know, so you can put this stuff goes to plastic, this goes is wood, this is paper, and we do that, and then we go to our landfill and we sort it all, and it, you know, is properly taken care of, rather than just putting everything in a big bag and throwing it in one place. So I'm just keeping everything here, but I will be sorting through it to dispose of it in an environmentally good way. But okay, this doesn't work, it's garbage. No one will have any use of this, it's going in the garbage. If it's not going in the garbage, that means it's still useful, like this knife. If it's still useful, then there's 2 options. You could either donate it to a flea market. That's usually what I do. There's flea markets all the time, and they take a lot of stuff, and you can just give them boxes and boxes of stuff. So I have a big box back here full of stuff that I'm gonna donate to a flea market, like old CDs, you know, old DVDs, all kinds of stuff that I really don't need. These bottles, they're going to the flea market. Stuff that I don't really, stuff that I don't want, they go to the flea market. There's also another option, and that is to sell. Because if it's really viable, if it's something that works properly and looks good, and it's worth a bit of money, rather than giving it away to a flea market, you could sell it and make some money in the process, convert it into something that you do want, right? So these knives, I don't know, they're not really worth that much, but then again, they're not really suitable at a flea market, so I'm gonna put out an ad, I think, online, and just say, come and collect it, it's free. So that's also an option. But for example, here we got my old Garmin watch. Now I have a new one, which is much more awesome. And this one is functional, and I don't see a point of putting that to a flea market. I can sell this for a little bit of money, not much, but a little bit. So I'll sell this one and make some money. So again, if you're getting rid of something, you have to ask yourself, is it going in garbage? Yes or no? Okay, if it's not going in the garbage because it's still functional, it needs to go to a flea market, or you need to sell it and convert it into money, and then you can spend that money on something that you do want, something that works, something that suits your needs at this moment. And that's it really. It's about having stuff in your life that suits your needs, you know, having what you need, needing what you have. and not having random stuff lying around, like all these phones, old phones from many years. Look at this one. This is a classic. This used to be my favorite phone back in the day. This is really mostly garbage, although maybe some of them can be repaired, that sort of thing. You don't really want to have that stuff lying around, taking up space, looking cluttered. Open up your cabinet and it's like, it's mental clutter. So I enjoy the process of just getting rid of stuff, getting rid of stuff, getting rid of stuff. Just out. Get it out. And then having a good view of, here's what I own. This is everything I've got. I'll probably make another video just showing you what I've actually got left after this process is over. But it's not going to be much. It's going to be a couple of boxes of books. It's going to be a couple of boxes of memories. It's going to be 3 guitars. I have a couple of other guitars over there. Yeah, and a few items and a few things that I need, and here's a box that I'm going to keep full of stuff that is related to sort of outdoor activities. Headlamp, emergency blanket, knife, travel towel, you know what I mean, like all those kind of things. So tools that I need in my life. And then last thing is about organizing that stuff into a functional lifestyle in a way. Yes, that's it. The key here is attachment. The key is working with your attachment and asking yourself, is this something I really need? Like picking up an old book and it's just like, oh, that old book, I need to keep it. Why? I mean, if you didn't look at that book for the last 10 years and now you're just looking at it and go like, oh, that book, I need it. You put it on a shelf and it's going to stay there for another 10 years. What use is that? I mean, if you're not actually enjoying that book at the moment, if you're not planning on reading it again pretty soon, sell it, let someone else enjoy it, and then you can buy it again from somewhere else if you suddenly feel the urge to read that book again, with the exception of certain items that you want on hand as of now, and also certain items that you want to keep for the purpose of looking through them at various times in a nostalgic kind of way. That's all for today. A long video talking about this topic. I find it a very interesting topic. I enjoy this process of cleaning out. I enjoy going through old stuff. And I'm really intent on reducing the amount of stuff I own dramatically this time. Also, the same goes for clothing. I have so much clothing that it's just lying around, and I don't need more than 1 or 2 or maximum 3 sweaters. Why? Just to change the color? Well, of course, some people, they might want to have all kinds of colors. That's part of their lifestyle, and for them, a different color is a different tool. It serves them in a different way. They express themselves through color in clothing, for example. And for someone like that, definitely. And a little bit for me too. I like having a couple of different colors to switch between. It's nice. So it depends on what level you're at. When I'm out traveling though, with a little backpack, I do not change clothes at all. I have 1 t-shirt and I wear it for a freaking year. So it depends what your priorities are at what time, and if you're living in one place or if you're moving around and if you have to carry it with you all the time. There's all these things to consider. But again, summing up, minimalism to me is all about having what you need. You're not supposed to miss anything. You're going to have everything you actually need, but it's about carefully considering those needs of yours and asking yourself, do I really need this though? What is this? Is this an actual need, or is it just a sort of attachment or an addiction maybe even? And then ultimately needing what you actually have. So there's a useful functional relationship to each item that you not own, but each item that you interact with, you could say, because ownership is really an illusion. You never own anything. Even your body is lost when you die. So you are borrowing your body, you are borrowing your guitars, borrowing all this stuff. It's temporary. It's in my possession right now, but ultimately it will pass on to someone else. It will go back to being dirt, and it will all go through the big cycle again. It's a recycle. It's a cycle. It's just a big cycle. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna get back to my process. Almost done actually, getting pretty close to the end. Thanks for watching. If you are still watching and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click the subscribe button to stay up to date with videos about health and nutrition, and sometimes about travel and these kind of minimalist topics as well. I did write an ebook about traveling where I do talk about lightweight backpacking, how to pack a really light backpack, and everything you need. There's a list in there of what you need to go traveling in the tropics. Maybe you're interested in that. You could check that out on our website. Otherwise, feel free to contact me for life coaching. Even if you are going through this process and you need some advice, call me up. I have coaching programs that I do via Skype. I can help you out and share some more insights about how to go through this process, and maybe advise you a little bit on what to do in your situation. Alrighty, hope you're having a good day. Thanks for watching. I will see you around.